There you go.
We're good.
You want to start with a statement and then we'll go with questions?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for everybody for coming out. It's a great first day. We're with the guys so much now. It doesn't have the. It's kind of anticlimactic in some ways because we're around them. I told them before that practice started on October 15th when I first started coaching and when I played. And one of the guys on my staff is so young. He was like, "Really?" So it was. But it's great to be in here with the full group. And what it really is a benchmark for, hey, here's where we are after the preseason, off-season, what have you, and now we're leading up to 6 weeks before our first game, and it feels like fall outside too, so it kind of sends a message.
Heard you talk about practices and habits on the floor. First week, what sort of practices, habits are really important?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've spent some time sort of defining those things and then, being able to convert them from like drill work to playing, and then for playing over a long period of time, hoping to get to the point where you could play 40 minutes at a high standard. But in the summer, a lot of it is, yeah, you're playing some, but you're also drilling it to try to, teach and build. And now we got to be able to go, hey, we might have to play 70 possessions this way at a high level. So it's the beginning of that.
Darren's looks like the obvious leader.
Yeah.
Seeing Gerald adapt well, you see Jacoi. Who's going to be your leaders on the team?
Yeah, it's a good question, Byron. Like our sophomores are very experienced. Obviously, Garrett not being here, he would be another really all-conference level player who got a tremendous amount of experience last year. And yet, I didn't think that we should have like just all sophomores. So our transfers are all older, which we wanted to get older. And those guys, I think blending those experiences that they've had at other places with the experiences our sophomores got last year and trying to build out a group that is a little bit more seasoned than last year's group was the goal. And I think we're there.
And just adding on, talking about transfers, can you just talk a little bit about what they kind of add on the court to this team, what new dimensions they bring?
Yeah, well, I think, Sean and Rafael Castro are both centers. I think you can play them together some, but both give you really good things at that position. Rafael's a real roll and rebound guy, a big lob threat, just a great athlete. And then Sean is very typical of, a skillful five-man that can make a three and is a great passer. He played at Cornell like in the Princeton offense, so very much a playmaker from that position. So the combination of those two guys. And then I think, in Gerald's case, he's a big guard that can play a number of different positions in the backcourt. Made 37 or 38% from three on 200 attempts, but can also play make. And Trey Moss has been a great surprise in terms of his effort, his athleticism, his energy. He's all over the glass for a guard, which I think is a great thing. He's shot the ball at a very, very high level this summer. He's really worked at it. And I think if that shows up, then we've got a guy who again, has got a lot of great experience and a lot of tools in the toolbox offensively and defensively.
They're learning on the floor, but you're learning as well as
Sure.
a coach. Your lessons that you learned last winter, where there were plenty of highs, plenty of lows as well.
Sure.
How have you responded?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that probably was different is I felt like in the old days when you had guys for 3 and 4 years that you didn't want to make the summer feel like practice because it would make for a very long year and then for many long years because those guys were together so long. I think now when you look at, hey, we have, the 4 transfers. We have Christian Jones coming off the red shirt. We have 2 true freshmen, both of whom I think have an opportunity to help us. You'll have a whole new team. Garrett goes out, now you're taking away somebody who probably is going to play 30 minutes. So I think we needed to get to the point where we were practicing, and when I say practicing, hey, it's an hour and it's not like every day and everything like that. We're staying within the rules, but we're doing more 5-on-5 team stuff to try to build that chemistry that maybe we had done in the past where you might have had a group together for years and there was already some chemistry.
Yeah, so to follow up on that, you talked about Garrett. How do you expect to fill out those, like you said, those 30 minutes with the 3 and the 4 in his absence?
Well, I think the first thing is you can't replace them. In our league, there's not many guys in our league that are 6, 7, or 8 that average 14 points, 6 rebounds, 42% from three, tons of rim attempts, gets fouled, shoots great free throws. It's not like you say, well, it's the next guy. No, he's hard to replace. So we have to understand that. But that was one of the reasons why we wound up bringing Diane in June. We got very lucky to get a really talented young player, and can he be that replacement? Well, it's hard to say, but you give yourself another chance to have a guy in that size category that can do some things. And we got a lot of work to do to get to that point, but certainly, it's going to be by committee.
So you're expecting Diane to play right away?
Again, he's only been here since he wasn't here in the summer because he played with the Swiss team. But you guys were here today. You could tell me what you thought, right? So he plays really, really hard. He's got a big motor. He's really coachable. He's physically strong and athletic, even for an 18-year-old guy. Him and Ty Bevins, I think, are both really good players. They got great size for their position, and they're 18 years old, which is exciting.
Expanding on the newcomers, what are your impressions? Not just the new kids, but the transfers as well. All the guys who are new to the program. What are your
I think they
impressions
fit
and what do you
really.
expect?
I think they fit in really well at GW. When you think about a guy like Sean coming from Cornell, an Ivy League guy, I think their personalities, their effort level. I think the ability to push the younger guys. And part of it for me was, the sophomores got a lot of experience, and I didn't want them to think like, oh, okay, this is what it's going to be like. I just get to play. It's like, no, hey, there's going to be more competition. That's happening, and that was conversations that I had with those guys, in the spring. Like, hey, this is not just always going to be a clear path. There's going to be new guys, and iron's going to sharpen iron, and we're going to get better because of it. And I think they've done all that while also fitting in seamlessly in terms of their personalities and their work ethic and the type of people they are.
And I know scheduling has been, a big topic of conversation, at least among fans.
Yeah, sure.
Can you just talk about, your scheduling philosophy for this year in terms of out of conference and what you're looking for?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me. I read an article. No one ever called me and asked me any questions about it. But no, I think, first of all, that if I would go back and say, the metrics tell us how to schedule, right? And you look at schedules across the country, right? You're going to play a certain amount of home games that you hope that you can play well for the net. You're going to play a certain amount of neutral site games. This year we got Kansas State on a neutral site, right? And then you're going to try to find some home and homes that make sense. Like last year for us, that game was Hofstra, a team that's won 20 games for like the last 6 years, right? I did that with 9 newcomers, including 6 freshmen, right? When you look at our exempt event this year, Kansas State in the first game, and then a rack of really, really good upper, mid-major, whatever you want to call them, teams. Who will come here? You try to ask some people, hey, will we start that series? The answer is no, right? And so what we have to do is now go on the road to American and Old Dominion. Old Dominion's been a program that's been good in basketball for 50 years, right? Now get that game returned, right? And so now hopefully the next year, you give yourself some flexibility with those return home games to potentially go challenge yourself on the road, knowing you might not get that game returned. But I think if you look at the teams in our league, no teams in our league, very few played more than 2 road games. The exempt events are trying to keep out teams from the Atlantic 10. They're going from 8 to 4. It's becoming much more difficult. The fact that we're able to get Kansas State on a neutral site in the Virgin Islands, I think, is a huge win for our program. And then again, for the net, we're going to go try and play home games that we feel like, hey, we should be able to play well and maybe position ourselves with the metrics to do well. That makes sense.
Yeah, so is that sort of the instruction of the league to sort of provide?
Well, the league's going to say, it's funny, I'm going to be respectful of the league here, but when I got the job in April of 22, I got a piece of paper that said, this is the league's rules about the net. By the time I got to the league meetings, and I didn't agree with it. What I read, I said, I disagree. And I came from a place where I get 2 at-large bids at George Mason. When we got to league meetings, the commissioner said, hey, listen, we're scrapping that. She realized, hey, there's a new way of looking at this. Our league's got to win 80% of the non-conference. However you get there. You got to win 80% of the non-conference games, right? And for teams like, in my case last year, where I got 9 newcomers and 6 freshmen, how can I get to 80%? we actually took care of business in the non-conference. And before our injuries, we were going to get ready to take care of business for the league in league play. That's going to be our goal every year. As we get better and better, then you start to think about, okay, maybe Dayton last year, they're thinking about seeding if they're healthy, okay? The other thing I would say about our league is I sat at the league media day, and they asked me about what I thought about the league coming off a year where we got one bid, and people were not high on us. And I said, oh, well, I've been in mid-major, multi-bid league many years. I know what that looks like. This league looks like it. And then we have two teams make the tournament, both win a game. Neither of those teams win our regular season. Our league is terrific. I mean, whatever the net says, I can tell you, you're getting a lot in our league. You're getting a lot of bump in our league, right? And so, I think that's just a narrative that needs to change. But if our performance doesn't show that in March, then I don't know what to tell you, because I think we also had, team in the Final Four of the NIT that didn't win our league. So we're in a heck of a league, and we're going to schedule like the teams that are in multi-bid leagues.
About the A10 conference tournament coming to DC next March, how cool is that?
Yeah, I love New York. Obviously, I'm from New York, but I think for us to have this here in DC, I think we can create a great environment for our players and our university in the Capital One Arena. And I know our leadership, our president, our board, our new athletic director, I think they're going to make a big push to get a lot of people over there for our games there.
Yeah, one more from me. I know a lot of people are excited about Adrian Wojnarowski joining the league with St. Bonaventure. I know you guys have a close relationship. I was wondering if you have any comment about that. Excited about the St. Bonaventure matchup this year?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my college coach played. He was a manager at St. Bonaventure, so he was there when we beat them there 2 years ago, which was a cool moment for me. And now having Woj there, unfortunately, Woj usually tries to make one of our games as a GW fan. He did that 2 years ago, but I don't think that's going to happen any further. And if he's happy, I'm happy. So I know him and his wife Amy are there's nobody that loves St. Bonaventure more than they do. Just like there's people who love GW at a high level. And so for them to be up in Olean a couple more times a year, I think if I had his money, I'd think about being in on the Pacific Ocean a few more times a year too. But I'm happy for them, and certainly happy for St. Bonaventure, and they're getting not just a great asset, but a great person.
Injuries really thinned you guys out last year. Defensively, there were issues too here and there. How have you cultivated and slow roasted this year's team to get better on that side?
I mean, I think we knew, I've been a part of teams that were great defensive teams, and we knew with all the young players and all the inexperience that there was going to be an adjustment defensively, and it was going to take time. And we just couldn't catch a break physically to see if we could have gotten to a better place there in the league. I mean, we're 3-1 in the league, and we beat Mason by 15 start to finish and at VCU. Those are very good wins. You look throughout the league season, even Bonaventure at home too, you take those 3 wins, those are 3 of the better wins in the league. And yet, we just couldn't withstand, okay, Garrett deteriorates, and then we shut him down, and at the same time, Darren gets hurt. What I'm most proud about is that when Darren got back and kind of healthy, we played 5 games against pretty good opponents. We won 1, and we were in basically a 1-possession game all the others, including at Duquesne, who's our league champion, and we basically fouled them with 2 seconds left. Otherwise, we win that game. And then a shot at the end of the game in the conference tournament. So I was encouraged by the spirit of that group. And I think that's been able to carry over into the summer, into the fall with the additions. I think our guys have been scarred and hardened by their experiences, both good and bad. And I think there's no surprises. Like I think last year, when you have young guys, sometimes they don't believe you. Even though as much as you tell them you can't touch the stove, they just go ahead and touch the stove and get burnt. We've been burnt enough now, and I think they sort of know what to expect.
Thanks, Coach. We're good.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Questions for Darren? Somebody shoot.
Yeah, coming in year 2 here at GW, took one of the top players in the A10. Seems like you're taking a big leadership role. Can you just talk about going into the season? What are your goals? What's your mentality?
I have no personal goals for this year. I tell the team every day, like, I could care less about me. And I've been preaching that since the summer. And it's actually been weeks in practice where I tell them, like, I'm not going to shoot the ball today, just so I can show them that, like, I'm willing to do everything else to help the team win. And that my focus is not just me. So my goal is this year just for the team to win. Like, excuse my language, but I'd be damned if we finish last place this year for sure. So I think that's the biggest goal that I have. Like, I want to win a conference. Like, I want to make a run in March. And I think we all got the same goal. So that's what we've been preaching this summer. And we working towards it. Like, I'm not satisfied with the way we've been working, but we put in a lot of good work to this point, and it's only gonna get better.
Biggest lessons learned last winter that helped you this fall as you guys?
That every game is tough. Every game is tough. That with that being said, like last year we were pretty much all freshmen. Like we was in college, but we never really played. Like I didn't play. So just going through that last year, knowing like every game is a battle. Like you're not gonna be able to walk in and walk over teams. I think that was one of the biggest lessons. And then like personally, I just learned that like I gotta get in better shape in order for me to be the type of player that I want to be. And I think I did a great job with that this summer.
Yeah, looking ahead, what's it like competing in the A10 on a night-by-night basis?
It's tough. Like I love competing in A10. Like every team, like it's a battle every game. Like no team is really like a slouch or nobody to look over. Like you're gonna get everybody's best game. Like when you go in the crowds, like Dayton, VCU, like those games, like it's stuff you live for. So it's tough being in the A10 and competing. It's just like if you're a basketball, you're a true competitor. That's something you really live for. So that's what I like about the A10.
I was wondering if you could talk about you guys.
Defensively, looking at your practice, y'all have a lot of athleticism, quickness.
Yeah.
How good do y'all think you can be?
I think we could be better defensively than we were last year for sure. I think we got a lot of versatility at every position. I think all of us has been taking the initiative to really key in on our defense, to really like get better at defense. Like as you see, we spend like lots of time on defense, working on our gaps, rotations, everything. So I think defense is going to be like our main thing this year. Like I think this year we'll be a good defensive team, and I just think, well, our athleticism is like, why not? Like, why can't we be that one good defensive team? So we getting there. Like I said, I like the pace that we're going. All the new guys picking up on the defensive keys, and the returning guys are leading and pushing them. So I think defensively we should be one of the top teams in the A10 for sure.
I was wondering if you could talk a bit about some of the stuff you focused on in the gym this summer, way to improve the game, just like where your main focus is.
Definitely shooting the ball. In order for me to help this team, I gotta be able to shoot the three. In order to help myself, I gotta be able to shoot the three. So I definitely shooting the ball. I spent tons of hours on that. My shot had got way better. My overall ball handling has gotten better. And then I feel like the main thing, other than shooting, was just my conditioning, just getting in shape. I came down in body fat, added 5 pounds of muscle now, so I feel way better than I did last year. And I just feel like my motor has to be high, so that's why this summer I really keyed on everything I needed to. In the gym 3 times a day, not counting practice or lift. So I'm really just trying to be a better version of me than I was last year.
Initial impressions of the new guys, the transfers, the freshmen, and how are they fitting in?
I love all our new guys. Ty Bevins, freshman, he came in, picked up on himself early. Like he's wise beyond his years. Rafael Castro from Providence, he's great around the rim. It's good to have a lob threat when I'm driving to the paint, because I know I can be able to make that play to him. And then Sean Hansen, like a pick and pop big, but also can play as a transporter in the offense. And then we got Trey Moss and Gerald, 2 like dynamic guards that do 2 different things very well. Like Trey Moss is good getting downhill, he can hit an open shot. And then Gerald just a natural playmaker. So we added a lot of good pieces. And then Dion, he came in, he just got here a couple weeks ago, but he already picking up the speed, learning things. So I'm impressed with him, and I just can't wait to keep building with him and then finally go compete against somebody else.
So one of the big things I think that was obvious watching practice today is how much of a leader you've been on the court. You know, I saw at the end you were really hyping up Zam, clapping, encouraging, all that. Can you just talk about sort of your leadership philosophy as you sort of step into that role this year?
It's more so just me being who I am. I think the way I was like raised, my parents always told me to be a leader, and I just know in order for this team to be where we got to be at, it got to come from me. Being as though the things I did last year, I don't really like care about what I did last year because it's a whole new season. But I just know that like I kind of got my name out there a little bit, so people know who I am. But I really don't care about it. Like I tell them every day, like I'm here for y'all. Like I'm here for the team. So like the team is way bigger than me. So whatever I can do to help the team, and that's one of the things, being that vocal leader, I'm going to do it. So it's been good. It was hard for me like in the beginning of the summer to really take on that role coming from last year, because like I'm still one of the youngest guys on the team. But I definitely matured into it, and I'm glad that I got that role this year, and Coach Caputo trusted me with that.
March is a long ways away, but the A10 tournament comes to DC in 2025. How cool is that?
It's super cool. All my friends will be home like during that time when it's here, so it feel good to have like play in front of people I haven't played in front of in years. Especially like my hometown friends. Like I'm from here, so having them come to those games, it definitely gives me more of an edge. You know, like I'm home. Like I hate losing at home. Don't want to lose at home. So playing at Caputo want to be fun. It'll be my first time playing there ever. I never played it in high school or anything. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then you talked a lot about on the court, but also off the court this summer. You've taken a big step in leadership in the community. You've done a few different camps and different events. Can you just talk about the importance of being active in the community and what it means to you?
It means everything to me. The way I was, like I always go back to where I was raised. My mom always preached to me, like, you take care of others, good things gonna come to you. But I just knew with the time that we're in right now and the platform that I have to get back to my community. Like they gotta see other things than what they see in the community. Like, cause where I grew up at, it's a lot of things going on there. I know how easy it is to fall off track. But to have somebody that actually made it out of that situation and come back and show them like, hey, I did this and I'm doing it. Like, they don't gotta do the same thing as me, play basketball. But to get them a platform where they feel like, oh, I could be myself and go do this and not follow the people in other crowds. So giving back to the community is always something I wanted to do. Like, I was planning on doing my basketball camp when I was in 7th grade. Like, my mom could vouch for that. So just being able to do that this summer. And then the back to school drive was amazing. Like, seeing all the smiles on the kids' faces, that's what I love to do. And definitely got bigger things coming for Thanksgiving and Christmas as well. So stay tuned.
Phenomenal.
Anything else, Darren? Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
We'll get Jacoi here in just a second.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I guess not.
Dave got too excited.
I know.
Go ahead, Dave.
How good does it feel to be getting everything underway for you guys?
Feels great. Highly anticipating the season this year. Definitely looking forward to it. I think we got a really good group, a lot of toughness, a lot of integrity on this team. So I'm definitely excited to get this rolling.
Biggest lessons you learned last winter that will help you this fall?
Biggest lessons I learned. In the A10, it's a really competitive conference. You got to be really good defensively to win games. Every possession matters. So I think that's two biggest things that stick out to me. And I think I've been trying to emphasize that as the leader and the point guard of this team for my teammates and myself.
Defensive strides you guys look to make this year, because last year injuries and just young guys, it's tough. You can't microwave good defense in this league.
I think the most important thing is staying healthy so that we can guard and play defense to the best of our abilities, and putting each other in position to be successful, being there for one another, talking to other on the court. So I think we got the pieces, but what'll gel us together is the little things like talking and helping each other out.
Jacoi, I was just wondering if you could talk about some of the stuff you worked on this summer and some of the biggest things you worked on improving.
This summer, I definitely want to continue on from how I finished the season last year with, my personal abilities, but also want to, get acclimated with the new guys, see what they like to do, get in the gym with them late at night, things like that. So I think that was the biggest thing for me this year, and just taking that role as the point guard of the team, the leader of the team, and making sure I get everyone else on board.
And especially as the point guard, all these new guys. Can you just talk a little bit about how they're going to, help the team around you?
I think we got some really, really good, impressive pieces this year. Just name a few guys. I'll say Trey Moss, as you guys seen today, crashing offensive glass, keeping the plays alive, hustle guy, can make shots. Gerald, he's a veteran guy, bringing a lot of leadership to this team, a lot of focus. We got Slim and Zam, two freakish athletes that I'm excited to see this year. And then we got C. Jones, who I'm looking forward to playing with in the backcourt this year. I think we got the same mindset defensively, and I think that's going to be really good for me. And got Sean Hansen from Cornell. I feel like he's like a point guard and a big man body, and I like that. So I think that's going to be impressive as well.
I know the A10, always known as like a guards league. Any specific matchups? I know it's looking ahead, but any specific matchups you're looking forward to this year?
No specific matchup. Just taking it one game at a time, like I said, just proving that we're one of the best defensive teams in the league because we got the pieces to do it. So I think everybody that's on the list, whoever the next game is, that's who we're going to focus on.
From a personal standpoint, what are your goals coming into year two?
My biggest goal is being the point guard on a winning team, and known as that, leaving my legacy here at GW like that, whether it takes 2-3 years, whatever it may be. So I think that's most important to me right now. So I think that takes being the best defensive player on the court. Every time I step on the court, guarding the best player. I think I fell short a couple of times. I guarded some other good players like in the conference tournament, but I think that's the big stuff for me.
Atlantic 10 tournament comes to DC in March. How do you guys get excited about it without getting distracted by the fact that it's on the horizon?
I think it's just taking the same way that we did as we was in Brooklyn. It's business at the end of the day. So we definitely want to have a big fan base. GW will come out and support us. So I think that gives us all the more reason to be successful and go for the win.
And impressions more, about the newcomers and the transfers, the freshmen. How are they fitting in your opinion?
Honestly, it surprised me. I think everyone gelled together really well from the jump, I would say. I think part of that was us playing 5-on-5 without the coaches around and just learning each other and not always doing everything under the whistle. So I liked how everyone was able to gel together, and it didn't really take much coaching up. I think everyone came with the mindset that they want to come here and win. So I think that's good.
Jacoi, are you noticing you guys are hanging out together a lot? Does that help your camaraderie too, to get to know you guys off the court?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the little things like taking trips to the mall, just hanging out, getting food, just talking about not always basketball, but just life and bonding with one another. I think at the end of the day, for us to win and be successful, we got to be brothers first. I think that's what it takes.
You guys are deep at point guard and on the guards. While y'all doing practice, y'all was picking up 94 feet. How much heavy do you think y'all can cause this season from the guard spot? Pressure.
I think we could have the best guards, definitely in the conference. I think I'll say in the country as well. Like I said, we got guys like C. Jones with that mindset that I got. I think we can help each other, push each other every day. Iron sharp as iron. So I think we could definitely cause a lot of havoc, especially at the guard position.
Sort of following up about team chemistry, you and June are going to be obviously running a lot of pick and rolls on a two-man game together. Can you just talk about how you guys have continued to grow together and are going to sort of work together to be the leaders of this team?
I think it's everyday reps. It's being on the same team and learning each other, trying new things, but also just coming in after practice, watching film. We watch film with the coaches together, and fix things and continue with things that we like. And I think it's just me and him is just a connection thing. I think we know each other really well, and I think that as teams start to recruit us and scout us and see what we did last year, it'll help us even more. We'll learn different things to add to our game too.
And today it seemed like there's a big, defensive focus in practice. Do you feel like there's been a shift more towards the defensive side in practices this year?
100%. I think we was doing defense all summer, and I think that's a good thing because like I said, to win, you got to be a top defensive team in the league to be successful and to make it to March. So I definitely agree.
Jacoi, what have you worked on the most as a point guard mindset? Dribble penetration, your outside shooting, your finishing. What are some of the things that you really want to improve on in the offseason?
Definitely all three of those things that you named, but just in specifics, like getting my percentage in the paint higher. I get a lot of paint touches in the game, so I got to be able to convert those, whether I'm kicking it out or whether I'm finishing at the rim. And along with that, getting to the free throw line a little more. As a point guard, I got to get to the free throw line more times than I did last year. So that's a big focus for me. And then just continuing, not settling with how well I shot the ball last year, improving, knowing that guys are going to scout me and that I'll have to continue to work on making those 0.5 decisions.
Thanks, June.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
My God.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.